Hello and welcome to round two training sessions. First of all, congratulations to all the speakers for making it to the state teams. You should give a tap to yourself and you should be proud of yourself. That's really wonderful. I think there were so many people who participated in the first round, and you're one of the few members from India who is going to be in round two, that is interstate rounds of IDL 3.0. So congratulations to all the state teams. You're representing your state, and that's a wonderful and very proud and honoring movement itself. So that's the first thing that you should be very proud of. The content for today is going to be couple. One, I'm going to tell you what's going to be the format. Second, I'm going to tell you how there's going to be different schedules and how you're going to get your motions. A document was already shared in your group, so if you have already read the document, there are so many questions that should already have been answered. But the next thing is obviously FAQs. If you have any doubts, I'm going to take them. I'm also going to give you tips and tricks for impromptu motions. I'm going to tell you, but there's no impromptu motion for junior category. So there's something that don't need to know about. And then I'm going to tell you as to how you can basically have um, how you can prepare for your speeches, because it's a team event. So what's the difference between an individual event, and then what's going to be the difference in terms of how judges are going to evaluate you. So all of which is something that we are going to share with you today. Let's start with what is the format. So the format is called WSDC format, which is a very prevalent format for debating in the world. So it's an international format. It's 3 versus 3. So you have three members in your speech, in your team. So you're going to go against another team which will have another like 3 members as well, right? So each team has 3 members, and each member speaks once. So everybody gets a chance to speak. There's going to be no POIs, no reply speeches. So everyone just gives one speech. Now, what's the time limit? It's exactly the same as your previous round. So you're only going to make a speech which is going to be for 3 minutes only. Now, you must ask me questions about how there is DPM, there is PM, there is GW. What is it? Don't worry about it, because PM is Prime Minister, which is the first speaker. DPM is Deputy Prime Minister, which is the second speaker, and then you have Government Whip. So I'm going to tell you more details about the format, but just know as of now, from this slide, you need to know 2 things. One, you have 3 members in your team, and second, that you will have only one speech per person, and the speech time limit is going to be for 3 minutes. Are there any questions from only those 2 things here then? Yes, Darsh, tell me.
Ma'am, I want to ask, will each member say 3 minutes of their part, or
Yes. So
so
everybody
the
gets
speech,
3 minutes.
so the whole speech that we have to prepare, each state has to prepare, must be of
Three,
must
three
be of
minutes each.
9 minutes.
Yes, correct. That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's good maths. So that's how it is. So this is it from this slide that you need to know. You should probably ignore things like what is the time limit for middle category and senior category, because your junior category you should just only know about your category. Let's go to the next thing. So this is the schedule for you guys. It's going to be so the first thing that you need to know is that your rounds are going to be on 18th of November. Okay, 18th of November this month. You are going to have 3 rounds. So it is mandatory for all teams to attend all 3 rounds. The reason is that each round this time it's going to be based on whether you win rounds, whether your high like average speaker score is higher or not, which means that if you already miss 1 round, you have lost 1 round and you only have 2 points. That's not good, right? So the competition is really high. You have to attend all 3 rounds, and you will have to make sure that you win most of them. So I'm not going to tell you if like you need to win all of the rounds, because that's completely dependent on the team's performance, like relatively. So what you need to do from your side is attend all rounds, prepare well for all rounds, and probably try to win most of them as much as you can. I think your just aim should be just to win rounds. So 3 rounds, 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. is going to be the first round. Second round is going to be 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And the third round is going to be 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. So there's a break for you guys. So the break is going to be for 1 hour from 6:30 to 7:30. But yes, it's going to be a hectic day. You are going to have 3 rounds like back to back in one day, because most international tournaments to get
positive vibes into
used to that as well. So if somebody is unmuted right now, can you please mute yourself?
Somebody whose mic is on.
Okay. So I think that's that. I think there are a couple of questions that are coming. I'm gonna take those questions. Yes, Nivan, tell me.
Miss, how much time prior will we know our stance?
On the spot. It's going to be on the spot. So you will have to prepare for both sides. And then the moment when you're told that your proposition, just take your speech and then start reading. So yeah, your motions are going to be released tomorrow. So you don't have to worry about motions, because motions, I'm going to give you all 3 motions tomorrow itself, and you will have 3 days to prepare for three rounds actually. That's one. Rajvi, what's your question?
I had a question. Can we write down a speech on the laptop and say it like that?
Yes, you can.
And I just had one more question. That will the results be announced on the same day at the same time after your speech, or will it be
No,
announced?
we will take some time to audit the results, and then we will release them in, let's say, 2 days.
Ma'am, but in the rules, it was written that you are not allowed to use your laptop to write your speech and like.
No, the rule said that you're not supposed to use internet, but you can use laptop to write your speeches. So you can refer. So yeah, you can use Google Doc and stuff. That's all right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Prisha, what's your doubt?
So, ma'am, these timings, I'm actually a day boarder, so it won't be easy for me to attend at this timing.
Ma'am, what do you mean we can't
I'll
use
come home
internet?
at something around 5:30, 5:45, 6
So I
6
think
p.m.
what you need to do is you need to arrange your timings in school accordingly. I mean, these are the timings that we can only accommodate these timings. I don't think we can accommodate any changes. But yes, this is not the time where we discuss timings and logistics. This is just for you to know all of this.
Ma'am, what do you mean that we can't use the internet? If you say that we can use the laptop, then
Yeah.
what do you mean that we can't use?
So what I mean by you can't use internet is, let's say during the debates, you can't use internet to find whether what your opponents are saying is correct or not. You need to use your brain, but you can use internet before the debate, so you can use it to prepare your speeches and stuff. But when you're using laptop, you have to make sure that your speeches are probably downloaded to Word doc, or let's say even if you want to use Google Doc, that's fine, but that's the only thing that you can use. You can't use Google, you can't use Chat GPT, you can't use laptop during the debates, which is from 3:30 to 8:30. Do not use Google to find out facts, is what I meant.
Excuse
All right.
Yeah. Cool. Then Saisha, what's your
Ma'am, actually, my doubt is that will we get like the same topic for all 3 rounds?
So round 1 and round 2 topic is going to be the same, but round 3 topic is going to be different. So you're going to get a total of two topics for all 3 rounds.
Ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am?
Yes, Minal?
Ma'am, the topics?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you properly.
Ma'am, I'm saying that when we get our topics.
Tomorrow, 12 noon.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Akshita, what's your doubt?
Ma'am,
Yes.
sometimes I'm not able to remember important details. So can we refer to our notes during the debate?
Yes, you can. Chanasya?
Ma'am, will all these rounds happen in one day?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Lavanya, what's your doubt?
I was quick to ask. So round 1, the first person will speak, and then round 2, the second person will speak.
No, each person gets to speak all rounds. Yes.
So 3
I'm going to
times.
tell you. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you how the format and structure works in a bit. But yes, every person speaks every round.
I had a question. Is round 3 different from round 1 and 2, or all of them are different?
That's a very good question. So the format of speeches is not going to be different. So it's going to be WSDC itself. So round 3 is going to be WSDC itself, but the teams are only going to be few. So it's going to be fewer teams who are going to qualify round 2, round 3.
No, the topic.
No, topics are going to be different.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Shweta, what's your doubt?
My doubt is, two my
Yeah.
team members have not responded. So will I be put in another team, or what should I do?
No, so we're going to reach out to your team members, and then if they tell us that they're not available, we'll give you another team member.
Okay, then thank you.
Okay. If you don't have doubt anymore, can you keep your hands down so that I can choose people who actually have doubt still? Okay. Aradhya, what's your doubt? Aradhya from Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, I'll go to another person.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Wait, Darsh, I'll come to you. Satvik, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, how will we decide who will speak first in each timings?
Yeah, that's also something I'm going to tell you in a bit. That's a very good question. Nivan?
Miss, so the round 1 and 2 are the same topics. So will I suppose I'm proposition in the first round? So will I have to be opposition in the second round?
So it's likely that you will be opposition in the next round, but we can't assure that because it's going to be random from the system. So it's likely that you will be opposition, but we can't promise that you're going to be opposition.
It's like I'm asking, like first I be proposition in the first round, suppose,
Yeah.
and in
Yeah.
the second round I become I have to become opposition. Is that
That's the algorithm, but that's the algorithm. So the way how the system picks up teams is going to be, for example, in round 1 is going to see who all are the people who have won the round. So the second round you're going to go against somebody who's already won a round. So it's going to be points based. So when you win a round you get 1 point. If you lose the round you get 0 points. Now the system is going to see all the teams which are going to be at 1 point, and then they're going to basically put everybody together against each other. Now it's we don't know whether all people at 1 point are proposition or opposition. Then the system is going to randomly allocate prop and op next round.
Okay.
So it's system based, so you don't necessarily know whether it's going to be proposition or opposition. Okay. Rutua, what's your doubt?
Ma'am.
Yeah, Prisha.
So, ma'am, oh, sorry.
Okay, Rutua, go on, and then Prisha, I'm going to come back to you.
Miss, would the motion remain the same for all the rounds?
No, round 1 and round 2 motion is going to be same. Round 3 there's going to be a different motion.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Prisha. Just a second, guys, keep yourself muted. Yes, Prisha, what's your doubt? Prisha?
So, ma'am, I was asking that how this team activity works. Like, is it that in the same round we're going to be doing
Yeah.
for
All of these
both
are
the
format
sides?
based doubts. I will deal with them. That all of these questions are very relevant. So let's do one thing. I'm gonna start telling you about the rounds and how the format works, because I think you're well aware of. Yes, Sasha, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, I have the doubt that, ma'am, in every 3 rounds,
Hmm.
will the same state be against us, or any in the all 3 rounds another state will be against us?
So it could be different states, it could be like it could be, it's most likely going to be different states, but again, as I said, it's going to be based on your points. So if you win rounds, so if let's say there are, after 2 rounds you have won 2 rounds, you're going to go against a team which has also won 2 rounds. So that's dependent on how other states are performing.
So, ma'am, you will let us know over there only, like, with which state are we gonna speak, like,
Yes,
give a debate against?
yes, on the spot.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Who is that?
Ma'am, Amina.
Minal, go on.
Yes, ma'am. When we get we have to decide that we are the first speaker, second speaker, or third speaker.
Yes, all of these questions are very relevant, and I'll tell you in a bit because that's what I'm going to cover next. If there are other questions, I can probably deal with them. Otherwise, yeah, Aradhya, tell
Excuse
me.
me, ma'am.
Yeah, tell.
Ma'am, how many teams will get selected?
That's a question that I'm going to tell you after you do all of your rounds. Okay.
Ma'am, can I ask something? It's
Yes,
something different.
yes,
What
Dash.
does WSDC mean?
Very
ऐसा है?
good question. That's World Schools Debating Championship.
Well, how does it even work?
It's so worlds is because it's a worlds format, it's an international format. Schools is because it's a schools format. So only people who are participating who are in school can participate it. And debating championship because it's a debating championship. So that's why it's WSTC.
Thank
Okay.
you, ma'am.
Okay. Kuber, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, my doubt is that when we do our rounds, our results will come like which state won.
Yeah, on the spot, the judge is going to tell you the result.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Akshata, do you have a doubt? Okay.
Ma'am, I'm not able to understand the difference between the first speaker, second speaker, and third speaker's speech.
I will tell you. I will tell you that. Okay. Let's go to the next slide so that you guys are aware of all of it. Cool. This is how the speaker order functions for WSDC, World School Debating Championship. So you have three speakers each side, speaker one, speaker two, speaker three. Now you are going to decide amongst yourself as to who is going to be speaker one, who is going to be speaker two, and who's going to be speaker three. Now, how do you decide who goes first, second, and third is a very good question to ask. So you're going to basically see what's the speaker role, and then you're going to decide who can go first, second, and third. I'm going to tell you speaker role in a bit, but before that, I'm going to tell you how the flow of the round is going to function. Okay. So let's say there's going to be two teams, right? One team is going to be proposition and one team is going to be opposition. The team which is proposition is going to support the motion or is going to be for the motion. The team who is opposition is going to oppose the motion or is going to basically be against the motion. I think that's clear, right? The next thing that you need to know is proposition's first speaker is going to speak first for 3 minutes. After first speaker of proposition is done, there's going to be speaker one of opposition, followed by speaker two of proposition, then speaker two of opposition, then speaker three of proposition, and then speaker three of opposition. So I think there's a whole. Remember we did that activity of dog in the ball, where I had given you like numbers, and then I told you, okay, number two come together, and then number two from each side came and gave their speeches. That's exactly how it works. So speaker one from prop, then speaker one of op, then speaker two of prop, speaker two of op, then speaker three of prop, and then speaker three of op. So it's back and forth. So speaker one, speaker two, speaker two, speaker three, speaker three. I hope this is clear. This is the format, which means every speaker gets to speak all rounds. So you're supposed to prepare your speeches. So all of the speakers get chance to debate all rounds. I think the flow should be clear. Is there any doubt on flow? I'm going to tell you the roles of each speaker in a bit. So just on the flow, is it clear? The order is clear. So don't worry about like what's the first speaker called, what's the second speaker called. That's not that's not something we should worry about because the judge is going to ask you to come. So what the judge is going to do is like, hello everyone, I request the first speaker from proposition to start the speech. So you would know when to start the speech. So don't worry about that. Yes, what's the doubt?
I have a question. So, will it be based on age? For example, I am first speaker of proposition, and the first speaker of opposition, will they like? So, for example, if I'm 10, will they
No.
also be 10, or they'll
No,
be?
it's not going to be based on age because it's a category, right? So third, fourth, and fifth graders are teamed up together. So you don't know who's going to be against you. You could have like a team of all third graders, or you can have a team of all fifth graders because that's based on the state that you are in. That's not something that is decided.
Okay, so the maximum is fifth. So fifth
Yeah,
till.
maximum is fifth. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Cool. Let's go to the other. Okay, you have to see this. Okay, this is how practically the rounds are going to function. Your speech timing is 3 minutes, as I have already told you. So team one, proposition speaker one speaks, after which this before the second speaker can start, there is a gap of 15 seconds. So you still have 15 seconds to gather your thoughts and stuff, and then you can start your speech, okay? So speaker one, then a gap, then team two, which is opposition speaker one, then there's going to be a gap, then team one, speaker two, team two, speaker two. So this is how it's going to function. So it's just same. Just remember that between speeches, you will have probably like minimum 15 seconds of gap as well. So this is for you guys. Now I'm going to tell you speaker roles, but before that, I can see four doubts, and I can see a couple of doubts in the chat box. The first doubt is, ma'am, at the end, a team will win or one teammate win. The team will be the one which is going to be winning and not the member. So you win as Team Madhya Pradesh altogether, or you win as Team Gujarat altogether. There is nothing like, hey, Satvik won. So that's not how it's going to work. It's going to be as a team. Okay. Next is, ma'am, we don't know our team members, so how do we decide? That's a very good question, Prisha, because you're supposed to get connected. As of now, you should know who your team members are, and you should probably form a team as well, like a group chat or something, so that you're all connected and you're basically communicating with each other. Zaira, impromptu is when motions are released on the spot. For you guys, for junior category, there's nothing like impromptu motions. So you have all motions which are going to be prepared. So you don't need to worry about impromptu motions. Okay, now I'm going to take questions from the ones who have raised their hands. Okay, if you don't have doubts right now and you have put your hand up, just put it down, because otherwise I'm going to be confused as to which question you get. Okay. Also, there are teams where the kids are from the same school, which gives them additional advantage. Here's the thing, guys. I think that the way how you should work, look at it, is not whether all speakers are from the same school. It's based on merit. So irrespective of whether you're from different schools, the reason as to why the other person is chosen in the team is because they perform the best amongst everybody else. So that's a better value, as opposed to, let's say, you being from the same school. I could be from the same school, but I could perform miserably. That's not how it works, right? So I think what you need to like look at is that your team is the best from that particular state, and that's what matters. So I don't think there's an additional advantage to anyone. Okay, let's go to questions now. Prisha, what's your doubt? Okay, Rajveer.
In the after from onwards from here, will the whole championship be with your team, or will you go single
So
after this?
the teams now going to remain the same. So you qualify as a team or you don't qualify at all?
No, like after this, the quarterfinals, the semifinals.
Yeah. So semifinals, the teams are going to remain same if you qualify. So Team Delhi, all members are going to be same. Yeah. Okay. Minal, what's your doubt?
No, ma'am, I don't have any type of doubt.
Okay, keep your hand down then. Your hand is raised.
Okay, ma'am.
Darsh?
Ma'am, my question is that each round to three, for example, me, Manya, and Kuber. So, for example, if Kuber is the introduction, so he has to say an introduction of 3 minutes.
No. So I'm going to teach you about what each person has to say in a bit. So speaker roles are still something that I'm going to deal with. So just wait. Okay, Kuber, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, after that 15 seconds of gap, will someone notify us now you can start after that 15
So here's the way how it's going to work. So it's going to be like, I thank the first speaker for the speech. I'm now going to invite the first speaker from opposition. Now, from the time I have invited you, you have 15 seconds to come to the stage and start. So that's what it is. So nobody's going to tell you that, hey, listen, your time is over. But let's say if you take a lot of time, then probably the judge is going to tell you that, listen, you should start right now.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Nivan.
Next, in the PPT are shown in the PPT are shown second speaker respond to questions asked by your opponents. Like there's no answer questions or like
I'll
you
tell
can
you
ask
what I meant by responding. Yes. Aradhya, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, will be told like if we are the first speaker, second speaker, or third speaker
No,
before?
I'll tell you how you decide that in a bit. But Sai, do you have a doubt, Sai Priya?
Ma'am, this is a question round or not?
This is a question round or not? No, there's going to be no questions asked. No. Advait?
Ma'am, my teammates are from another state, so how am I supposed to contact?
Online, because the round is online. So I think these are very relevant questions. I'm going to deal with them. But let's start with the speaker roles, and then I'm going to tell you how you can basically decide who goes first and second. Okay. So there are three speakers. If you are the first speaker, the first thing that you need to do is define the key terms of the motion. Now, what key terms of the motion means is just introduction. Remember, we told you that you're supposed to give introduction in your speeches. So this is exactly the same as introduction. You're supposed to give, like, let's say, relevant explanation to some points, or relevant introduction to, let's say, this is what this particular term means, etc., etc. So this is that. You can also give quotations if you want to. You can also define what the motion looks like, etc., etc. That's one. The second thing that you are going to do is you're going to give case split. So as a team collectively, you're supposed to give 4 arguments, which means 4 points. And remember what we told you about each argument. Each argument has to have an assertion, reasoning, example. So as a team, you're supposed to present 4 points. Now you're going to tell what the headings of all 4 points are in your first speech.
Ma'am, can we do more than 4 or less than 4?
You can, yes. It's your
Can we do
choice.
less than 4?
Yes, you can.
All right. But if
Okay.
they are
Ma'am, can I also?
if they're really good.
Huh?
Only if those points are really good.
Yes,
Otherwise,
only if those points are really good and you're explaining them like thoroughly. Like, that's when you can do it.
okay.
Okay. So again, I'm going to repeat it. The way how you win the debate is not based on how many points you give, but the way how you give those points. So the quality of points matter as opposed to the quantity of points. Okay. But we have just given you 4 arguments because it's difficult for like this category to understand how many points to give, how to give all of that. So we have given you this one mark of 4 arguments. So mention 4 arguments in your first speech and then explain only 2 of them. So as the first speaker, you're giving the introduction to the motion. You're mentioning as to what those points are that your team collectively is going to present. And then you're going to present any 2 of the 4 arguments with reasoning and examples. So remember every single thing that we taught you in the first round, that this is how you make your points, this is how you elaborate them, this is how you give reasoning, all of which is something is going to come handy here. So that's the role of first speaker. Second speaker then is going to respond to questions asked by opponents. Now that's a very good observation by somebody who made that there's no question. Who are we responding to? Do you guys know rebuttals? Remember your reply speech. So your reply speech is based on the points of your opponents, right? Now the second speaker has listened to the first speaker of your opponents, right? So you need to respond to the points that they have made in their speech. So they're probably going to be, let's say, points of, like, I'm just going to take the same example of ice cream versus milkshake. Let's say your opponent said that ice cream is better because it's cold and it's going to give you, let's say, chills in summers. So as the second speaker, you have heard that point. Now you can respond to that point by saying that yes, ice cream is cold, but the same reason as to why ice cream is bad is because it's cold and it can give you brain freeze, for example, right? So you're responding to that point. You're basically contradicting the point of your opponent. So second speaker's job is to contradict, respond to the point of the opponents, right? So you're going to say, let's say if opposition says that, hey, the reason as to why ice cream is good is because of the multiple flavors that ice cream can give you, and you think that this benefit is something that also exists in my side, right? So in the second speech, I'm going to say, listen, even milkshakes can have the same like flavors, because you can use the same ice cream flavor and, let's say, put milk in it and then make the same milkshake. So you're basically telling that, sure, what the harm that opposition is talking about does not exist in our side, and you can explain why. And then you can also explain why the benefit that they're basically saying exists in their side, like your side as well. So the idea is that you have heard all points from opposition, whatever you've heard, you can respond to them in your speech. The second thing that you would do is extend. So that's more important, because second speaker is then going to explain the remaining arguments that your team has to present. There are 4 points, right? And your first speaker has already explained 2 points. So the second speaker can give 2 extra points, explain them, give examples, etc. So that's the point. That's the thing that second speaker is going to do. Now the third speaker is going to do a couple of things. The most important thing that the third speaker is going to do is summarize your arguments. Now, as a team, you have given 4 arguments. You're going to tell why those arguments are good, and why those arguments, like, you'll just firstly give what's the summary of all arguments, what's the gist of all the things that you have said as your team. The second thing that you would do is prove to judge as to why you win the debate. Now, how can you win the debate? I'm going to prove what my team has done better than the other team. So I'm going to give, let's say, different reasons. So firstly, we have given you more points, we have given you like better points, we've given you reasonings, opposition did not give you reasonings, we have given you statistics, all of that. So you can give different reasons as to why you should win the debate and why your team is better than your opponents. A very good way to basically convince the judge that you won is probably by saying that we have responded to all points given by your opponents.
What if deep down you know that your opponent has done better?
If you think that your opponents are better, that means you have already accepted your defeat. That's not how you debate. You don't have to accept your defeat even till the result comes out. So nobody can tell you that you have lost unless the judge tells you that you have lost. So don't have preconceived notions. So this is how you should do it. You should be able to, as a third speaker, you should be able to sell a comb to a bald person that, listen, we have won the debate. Like, we have actually won the debate. So convince the judge that, listen, we've won the debate. These are the reasons as to why we've won the debate. So prove how your team wins the debate against the opposition, and prove. So there are a couple of things that you can do. You can prove, one, you can also respond to a large chunk of what opposition has said, because third speaker has also listened to the second speaker, which the second speaker of your team hasn't listened to. So as the third speaker, you're the last speaker. So let's say there are a couple of things that the other speakers of your team did not respond to, did not rebut to, did not contradict. So as a third speaker, you can do that as well. So I'm going to repeat it. First speaker has to define all the key terms of the motion or the topic, mention 4 arguments. Now, mentioning means that my first argument is ice cream has better flavors. Second argument is ice cream is good for health, probably. Third argument is you have more variety, and so on and so forth. So I think you're just mentioning those points, you're not explaining them. But the only you're going to pick 2 points, and then you're going to explain them through reasonings and examples. That's the first speaker. The second speaker is I'm going to basically go back and I'm going to show you how it works actually. Can you guys see this? So first speaker cannot respond to anyone from opposition. They have not listened to anything. So they would just define the motion and they would give 4 points, explain 2 points. That's one. Second speaker. Now, second speaker has heard speaker 1. Just give me a second. Now, second speaker has heard speaker 1 of opposition. So you have the ability to respond to speaker 1 of opposition. Now, how would you respond? This is what speaker 1 of opposition said. This is why it's wrong. And this is why our point stands better. So this is how you're going to do it. So the second speaker, first thing, you're going to give the 2 extra points from your side. You're going to explain them and give reasonings, and you're going to give the examples. Second thing, you're going to respond to your opponents. So the way how you respond is, this is what opponent said. This is why we think that's wrong. Or this is what they're saying is a benefit in their side, but we disagree to that, etc., etc. That's the second thing. The third speaker is going to summarize all the points that are being given by speaker 1 and speaker 2. So you give a just or summary of all the points. Then you tell the judge why you win the debate. And then you also go ahead and since you have the speaker 3 has listened to speaker 2 and speaker 1 as well. So if there is something that speaker 2 could not respond to, you're going to do that. And then you're going to respond to every new material that speaker 2 has mentioned. So third speaker's job, responding, proving the judge why you win the debate, and then also giving a summary of your speech, like of your team in total. That's what is the speaker role. Are there any questions on speaker role? Then I'm going to take speaker roles.
Ma'am, can I ask?
Just a second. Can you put your hands up? I'm going to, yeah, okay. Just like raise your hand and then I'm going to put you. Okay. Yeah, Aradhya, what's it out?
Ma'am, my doubt was that can the first speaker of opposition rebut
to the first speaker of proposition?
Yes, you can. So you can technically rebut anyone you have heard till now. So if you've heard the speech, you can obviously rebut, but there's no rule for that. Yes, Prisha.
Ma'am, I was asking that like I'm opposition of the motion.
Hmm.
So like the proposition speaker speaks before me,
Yes.
and they have some questions like rhetorical questions that we
Yeah.
may answer.
Yeah.
So is it like that I am also gonna speak for the motion? I'm also gonna speak against the motion, but I won't answer any of the questions.
Hmm. So if you want to, you can,
And
you can.
second speaker
So
will
there,
do
wait,
that
wait. So
instead
there's
of
the
me.
first thing. So you can choose to give a rhetorical reply in your speech as well. But if you don't want to, you can completely ignore that. Is that
Ma'am,
clear?
I could not get you.
Yeah. So for example, the first speaker, by the end of their speech, they say that if you want the world to, let's say, be a better place, vote for side proposition. That's a question that they're asking. So on opposition, you can in your speech end your speech by saying that, judge, if you actually want the world to be at peace, the reason as to why you should vote for opposition is this and not proposition. So you're just responding to that reply, like rhetorical question, but that's just engagement. If you don't want to reply to that question, that's okay. That's your choice. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Darsh, what's your question?
Ma'am, actually, this is my mother's question. My mom told me to ask it to you that will this meeting be recorded in YouTube?
Yes, it is recorded and will be sent on YouTube. Okay.
Ma'am, will you get points if you reply?
Reply as in respond in your speech. Yes, you get extra points for that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Rajveer, what's your doubt? Okay, there are no doubts. And then Satvik, what's your doubt?
Ma'am, what is the duration of each speaker?
3 minutes each speaker.
And ma'am, if we get proposition in first and second both speeches, so if we repeat the speeches that he said in the first round, will that be justified?
Yeah, I mean, you're repeating this. So let's say, like, you're repeating the same speech. That's all right because you're probably going to have different judges.
Ma'am,
Yes.
will it be? Will it give you points if you reply to the rhetorical question?
If you think the rhetorical question is important, yes. Because at times, rhetorical question is just for rhetorics and not necessarily to get an answer. So you're probably wasting your time. So be very smart and choose what you want to reply. Okay. Cool. Saisha, what's your doubt? Saisha, do you have a doubt? Okay, I'm gonna continue with the PPT then. Okay. So that's with the roles. Next thing, about your motion release, you're gonna get both motions tomorrow at by 12 noon. So that's that.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, actually, I have two doubts. Ma'am, my first doubt is that, ma'am, if the first speaker has to prepare their speech according to the topic, ma'am, but if they realize that their speech is similar to any other state speech, then what should they do in that condition?
Why? Firstly, I mean, because your stance is different, your speech. So there are going to be two teams only in one room, right? And both teams have different stance because one person is supporting the motion and one person is opposing the motion. So firstly, your speeches should not be same. Secondly, if you're asking about speech being similar to your teammates, that's a very good question because you as a team, you should decide and divide points so that you don't repeat points. So that's a very important thing that you should do. You
Ma'am,
should
what
talk
if
to
you
your
repeat points in a different way? Like, for example, I'm saying pens are good, and I repeat um like another word for pens and another word for good and everything. Say it in another way.
Why? So you're saying your points are similar to your same team members or opposition?
Yeah, so for example, I'm the first person speaking for
Yeah.
proposition,
Yeah.
and my teammate only is the second person speaking from proposition side only.
Yeah.
I say pens are good, and he says
The
pens are
same thing, but in
good.
different way. No, that's not how it works. You should have different points because if you're paraphrasing, you're repeating the first speaker and then your scores are going to reduce.
Okay.
Ma'am,
So don't repeat.
ma'am, as Ira asked first that, ma'am, that will we get points for replying?
Yeah.
So, ma'am, the first speaker cannot reply, so they will not get extra points
No, the first speaker's
for that.
points are so here's the thing, right? Your points are going to be based on your speaker role. Since first speaker's role is not to respond, your points are only based on your and not based on your reply. But the second speaker is supposed to respond, and the third speaker is also supposed to respond, which is why you are also judged whether you responded or not.
Thanks,
But
ma'am.
because remember that you don't have to take an extra burden of saying that hey, second speaker is very difficult or third speaker is very difficult, because for this category specifically we have told the judges that don't expect too much in terms of responding and impromptu replies because it's very difficult and we don't expect you to have replies. But that's why if somebody is taking that extra step of replying in junior category, we want to credit them for that. Okay, let's go
Thank you,
to
ma'am.
important notes then. There is no individual qualification, so you're not qualifying because of your speech being extremely good. You're qualifying because your team in totality was good. Second, teams are requested to coordinate and prepare on motions instead of writing their own speeches. So what you're going to do after this meeting ends is go back, create a WhatsApp group between the three speakers, and then start conversing there. Tomorrow, you're going to get your motion, then start talking about who's going to be the first speaker, who's going to be the second speaker, who's going to be the third speaker. Probably decide that based on, let's say, you're the youngest, you can go first. Second speaker can be, let's say, based on like, the reason as to why I'm saying you're the youngest, you can go first is because I think second speaker and third speaker is a little more burden. So I think it's always good for you being the, yeah, like elder in the team to take that extra burden as opposed to burdening the person who is, let's say, very young. But secondly, I think you should also see who is more comfortable. Some people are more comfortable replying as opposed to just giving their positive speech, and some people are very good in just like preparing and then giving their speech. So try to discuss amongst yourself as to, listen, I think I should basically go ahead and give the speech. I think I'm going to be better in responding. I'm very good at like adapting to what people are saying on the spot. Then take the second speaker. Or if somebody is very good at, let's say, preparing on the spot, then you can go the third speaker. So look at what your positives are and what your strengths are, and what works for you as a team, and then decide the speaker roles, and then start preparing. Probably come on meets and then decide that okay, I think I have research for the topic, and then these are the 4 points that we can run, and then you can divide those points, or you can collaborate all the points and then divide them. So you're supposed to work as a team and divide points, divide reasonings, divide examples, discuss those points, tell that this is what I'm going to speak in my speech, etc., etc. So second thing is round three will have a different motion for every category. So remember that you're going to have different motions as well sometimes. The next thing is mosaic of identities. So what is the sub theme of this round? Remember last round we had a sub theme here, or you also have a sub theme for this round in terms of what kind of motions you're going to get. So it sounds difficult, but the motion is simply about how India has so many diverse identities. We have different cultures, we have different religions, different regions, etc., etc. Because of this diversity, it sometimes leads to things like cooperation, sometimes it leads to conflict, sometimes it leads to reconciliation between the conflict, sometimes it leads to reparations. So it's going to be based on how different identities interplay between each other. So we have so much diversity, and how does India deal with that diversity? So the topics are going to be similar to that, more on the lines of identity itself. So that's how it's going to be. So you know about the theme and sub theme of the motion, like of motions as well. But I think you don't need to chew a lot about it because tomorrow is the time when you're going to get motion anyways.
Ma'am,
So
what's the sub theme?
sub theme is mosaic of identities. which means diversity of identities. Okay. Yeah, Aradhya, what's your out?
Yes, ma'am. So we can have the same side for the first two rounds. So we can be proposition for the first and proposition for the second round too.
It's likely that you'll get opposition in round two, but it's not 100% sure that you'll get opposition in round two. You can get similar sides as well.
Okay, ma'am.
Cool. Let's go to the next round then. There are a couple of tips and tricks. First is case.
Can I ask them?
Yeah, ask.
Is that in round 1 and 2, can we say the same speech?
Yes, you can. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then let's come to case prep strategies. First, do not skip setting up the context. You still have to give like context in your first speech. So what is the debate about? Why are we having this debate? All of that. So you also have to analyze your arguments. Analyzation means you're supposed to give explanation, reasoning, examples. Examples can be used, but not too many. So you shouldn't give too many examples and if you're not giving reasoning. So reasoning is the most important part of an argument, and then your examples. Next is, don't spend all of your time writing speeches independently. You should basically have, like, let's say, firstly discuss amongst your team, but also it's okay for you to just have pointers, so you can just look at the pointers and explain them by yourself. Coordinate and share your ideas. It's not, so again, I'm going to repeat it so many times, that it's not that you should have the best speech of your team. It should be that your team in totality is working best. You shouldn't be like, I want to make my speech the best, that's why I'm not going to share my points. That's not how WSDC works, and you cannot win this way. You should share your points. Next is going to be coordinate and share your ideas at all times. I think this is mentioned. Gov side prepares inside the room and offside prepares outside the room. That's only for offline debates, not for you guys right now. Do not gatekeep matters. I think this is something I already told. Do not gatekeep matter, like, which means that I'm going to keep the best point to myself. That's not how it works. Then you have deputy and whip speeches must carry forward their speech. First speakers claim. So I think the very important the thing that you need to know, just because you're going to give different points across the team, that does not mean that you're going to contradict your first speaker or second speaker. You should still say the same thing. For example, if the first speaker in their speech have mentioned that, listen, India is developing country, then the second speaker can't just like contradict them and say that, hey, India is not a developing country, it's a developed country. So you have to have same stance. You cannot contradict your own team. You're an own team. You're supposed to be like supporting each other as opposed to just like knifing them. Okay, so don't knife your own speakers.
Can you like say that I agree with the opposition? I agree with my opposition's point that he is saying this and this is correct. But I think blah blah blah.
Yeah, you can. Yes.
Okay, that's
Okay.
not nice.
Yeah, that's not knifing. So I agree that opposition says this, but this is exactly why our side is better. So you can probably do that. So you're just strategically doing that. Okay. Then you have other FAQs. You can use a paper for reference, but reading out from it will downmark your speech, because again, your judging criteria is matter, method. It's going to remain the same for this round as well. So just because you're reading the entire speech and you're not like looking at the camera, that's going to reduce your points for method, like that's going to reduce your points for manner. Not being on camera leads to down marking, so you're supposed to keep your cameras on, because that's also going to show your manner marks as well. Then you have individual. Yes.
Can't you just say that some people might say that my internet is not working, so I'm just switching off my camera and they can cheat.
Here's the thing. I think you should it's expected from you that you have good internet and your camera is going to work. So if you think your internet is not good, then probably change it. But also, if you think that your camera is not working, then probably before your rounds, like, keep a close eye on your camera and stuff. So change devices, etc. Because I mean, we can give you the benefit of doubt and of saying that, hey, your internet is not working properly. But as a team, you should just make sure that everything is working properly.
All right.
Okay. The next thing is individual speakers prices exist. Please know that if your team is not going to get selected, then it's likely that you're also going to be up for individual speaker awards still. But that also means that just because there are individual awards, that does not mean that you're going to not have a good team coordination. That's also your responsibility. Research is allowed for background knowledge, but also you can't just simply go ahead and use chat gpt, because I mean, you can use chat gpt in your research, but if the judge believes that you have used chat gpt, then the judge is going to down mark you. But you cannot complain for saying that, hey, our opponents use chat gpt. That's not how it works. If the judge believes that the speakers have used chat gpt, they'll reduce your score anyways. All right, that's that. Now, judging criteria is going to be the same: matter, manner, method. Matter is content, manner is presentation, and method is structure. So how are you speaking? Is your argument relevant? Is your research relevant? Is your side relevant? Then matter is, how good was the speaker's body language? How was your gestures? Are you using voice modulation? Are you making eye contact with the judges and your opponents? That's all it's going to be. Next is method, your structure. Are you sticking to the time limit? It's 3 minutes, so you can only go 3 minutes 15 seconds. You can't go beyond that. Was your point effectively rebutted? So are you replying in your points, etc.? That's going to be your method. So these are the three judging criteria. But what should you do after you end this meeting and you leave this meeting? First, create a WhatsApp group between your state team and have like have a good team coordination. So if you're not from the same school, if you're not from the same city, that's all right, because you now can be friends, and that's a very good thing to begin with. But secondly, create a common Word doc or Google Doc. So the way how common Google Doc and Word doc works, and you can take help from your parents, you can create a Google Doc, common Google Doc, and then you can create link, and then you can send that link on the group, or on the group as in your personal three members group, and then each member can continue to add points, and this point is something that you can see as well. So it's going to be available for all three speakers, but you can use anything. If you want, you can send your points on WhatsApp so that the other person can also read your speech. If you want, you can share your speech via Word document. If you want, you can write your speech, you can take a snap of it and send it to your speakers as well. Second thing is, have discussion calls. You can create Gmeet or Zoom calls between yourself. You can schedule them. You can be like, hey, I'm probably like free after 6 p.m. today. Let's get on call and let's decide and discuss our points. So that's something you should do as well. So you can discuss your points, you can divide your points, you can also practice. So once you're done writing your speech, you can basically practice together and like deliver your speech and tell it to your tell it to your team members. And then the team members can basically give you feedback and tell you how to improve if you want to. The next thing is, this is now a team event and your judge is team. So remember, I think there's something I'm going to continuously keep telling you. The next thing is, tomorrow you're going to get your motion, and you're also going to get motion clarification. So you're first going to do two things. One, read the motion again and again in order to understand it. Second, you're going to also listen to the motion clarification properly. And then let's say if after reading the clarification also you can't understand it, then reach out to us and ask any question, okay? So don't prepare for the wrong side or don't prepare for the wrong motion. Prepare for the right motion only and ask questions if you have any. So just don't hesitate before asking question and before preparing for it. We want you to prepare for the right motion. Last is, you're required to prepare 2 documents per motion. So one motion is going to be first and second motion is going to be the same. So just prepare for and against for that. And then the second motion is going to be round 3 motion. So prepare for and against for that as well. We're going to tell you which round you're prop, which round you're up on the spot. So that's that. That's pretty much it for what I had to cover. If you guys have any question, you can ask me now.